What's on your mind? Yeah, boss?
Where are we headed? Okay, I got another one. I can only live where there's light, but if a light shines on me, I die. What am I?
Huh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with... a conspiracy.
I don't think you're taking my riddle serious, Felix. Anyway, answer's a shadow.
Hey, I was close.
If the Iconoclasts reach that ship first, there won't be any chance for a peaceful monarch. I don't suppose you've found the targeting module yet? I've sent patrols, but they're running into trouble with the Iconoclasts. That's surprising. The board's equipment is usually in top shape. After all, they have first access to any fresh parts or components. A conspiracy? You've spent too much time around Graham. Well, because the module controls the weapons systems. Because once we mount them on Stellar Bay's walls, no Marauder or Raptidon will ever be a threat to us again.
Gotta hand it to you, Sanjar. That ain't a bad plan.
It's absolutely foolproof. Stellar Bay will be as secure as any other settlement in Halcyon. The board's own Salvage and Recovery Clause 32B would say differently.
And they won't dare challenge us over this. Not after the data you found on their experiments here.
Can you imagine what those maniacs would do with weapons like that? They'd wreak havoc.
You said that like it's a problem.
The board would consider us complicit in any of their folly. That would only get us ousted again.
And roll back all the progress we've made at reconciling with the rest of Halcyon.
Oh, I've known their ilk long enough. Even if they merely sat on the scraps, the threat of a bunch of anarchists holding a gunship would bring the full wrath of the board down on Monarch. We can't afford that.
Don't worry. We'll send an engineering team for those later. We'll have to disconnect them from the rest of the ship.
Of course, they'll be useless without that targeting module, which is why it's critical that you retrieve it.
Which is also why we can't let the Iconoclasts get them.
Look, Celia, she's being funny again.
I don't think so, sir.
Really? Well, I could have sworn... Well, that's not important. What is important is that there's a considerable distance between us and that ship, and most of it is inhabited by marauders and raptidons. Do you just think of these things in the moment, or do you write them down and save them for later? They're very good. Oh, I can play along. What I've got here is a town full of yellow-bellied corporate cast-offs who wouldn't know a stun baton from a slide rule. How's that? Wow! Thanks, Thank you. Good, because we haven't a moment to lose. They're all mad! And what's more, they left us! I don't see any way for us to work together. Not this again.
Remember what we practiced, sir.
Yes. The words in those reviews were very hurtful, but they do not define me. I am a mantipillar, and my will is my cocoon. I can emerge and become whatever I wish. I hadn't thought of it that way. Perhaps you have a point. Supposing you're right, who exactly would you have me work with? The Iconoclasts are not the most compromising sorts. Oh, how do these things ever start? Once upon a time, Graham and I saw the same problems with MSI. A rigid corporate structure with no regard for its people. But where I wanted to reform MSI, he only wanted to take it apart. As if starving in the wilderness is somehow better than starving under corporate mismanagement. He won't hear reason now, and I wouldn't trust him again. That's an interesting suggestion. I confess I don't know much about her except that she worked for Rizzo. I'd be willing to consider it, but I need to see her review first. Very well. I can't promise anything, but let's see what we have here. Well, it seems like she's actually very qualified. I wasn't expecting to say this, but if you can put her in charge and convince her to agree to a meeting, I'd be willing to discuss terms.
Here's the other thing about Tossball. Tossball is all about scoring goals.
Scoring goals, got it. And you can score a goal by kicking the ball, throwing the ball, or
running it into the Saturday goal, if you're a visitor. Or the Sunday goal, if you're on the home team.
Okay, so if you're on the home team, you want to run the ball into the Sunday goal? Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
You can also kick it, that's called a foot goal. Or throw it, that's called a hand goal. Running's worth more points, but it's got some risks. You could get cleaved, hacked, winged, bronzed. You could tumble the ball in the Wednesday zone, also known as getting humped.
Felix, are we still talking about toss ball or...
Well, yeah. What'd you think we were talking about?
We've sent troops after the ship, but they haven't made it back.
Never seen anything like that crash. It looked so close.
May the eternal truth guide you.
The infamous Amber Heights.
Everybody here looks wore out. Is it just me?
The gunship. Have you secured its targeting module? Mount its guns to our walls or the walls of Stellar Bay. The board is coming, Captain, and these weapons will defend us from their blasphemies. Why wouldn't they? As we speak, our message assaults their populace through their favorite entertainment mediums. Surely their retaliation will come soon. All right. The gunship. Have you...
Hey, Captain. I need your help, and we ought to keep it hush-hush. You know about what happened here, right? The history of Amber Heights?
Fella came through Edgewater once, mentioned something to my dad about pirates wiping out a town. You mean this is the same place?
Right. Common belief is that the pirates fled to an old relay station that had already been abandoned, but nobody could find them. The station's locked up, but one of my people found an old data cartridge in a nearby rat nest. It's mostly corrupted, but I pulled a couple codes off of it. One is the code to the Amber Heights gate. I don't recognize the other, but it's similar. I bet it opens a door. Right. The access codes to Amber Heights. What gets me is, if this belonged to the pirates, that means they knew someone there. If someone gave them the gate code, all those deaths, Captain, all that blood is on their hands. Graham isn't fond of talking about the history here. He had friends who worked here. The massacre hit him pretty hard. You know him. Live and let live and all that. I don't want to burden him right now, especially if this ends up being a dead end. Just a warning. The area is infested with mantisaurs. I'd send some help, but we're, preparing for war. Appreciate it. Here's the code. If it works, bring back anything you find. Supplies are best, but information's good too. If someone was behind the Amber Heights massacre, it'd give a lot of people around here some closure to find out who and string them up. Good luck. Watch out for the Taros. Welcome back. You find anything out there?
What's up? What's with the pleasantries? You want to know something? Just ask. Yeah, at first we all thought it was about damn time. I don't know if you've noticed, but Monarch ain't exactly easy on the spirit. Then it got uglier than a rat eating a sour grape. Everything that could have gone wrong did. Townships were promised evac shuttles that never came. Overland routes were attacked by marauders and wildlife. Supplies went missing, our equipment started corroding on account of the sulfur in the air. It was a fine mess. I don't know, but at least we'd have money to back us up. Supply shipments. Food that we don't have to hunt down. Look at MSI. They're getting along fine. I have to think the Corps could have made it work if they'd reprioritized. I'm not sure we need anything, Cap. We've had our growing pains, to be sure, but here we are. Still alive, still fighting. Long as nobody goes around trying to dismantle the whole thing, I think we'll be fine. Progress requires structure. Nobody's gonna build a sewer pipe or a road if they don't got a boss telling them to. The bureaucracy's necessary. Anytime, Cap. What's up?
I find myself marveling. Something.
Can we talk? Hey, got a favor to ask you. Figure while we're out here in the wilderness anyhow, we might stop in on an old friend of mine. Preferably before we get to Hiram's. It's on the way, don't worry. You don't seem the type to run off and get yourself killed, and I could use the help. I'll be upfront with you. I hate asking for help. I hate it. Every time I give someone the opportunity to disappoint me, they seem to make it their most immediate goal. But this, what I'm thinking, it's dangerous. Really? Here I was steeling myself for inevitable rejection. I used to run with a band of hunters. Friends. 6 of us. We were on Monarch when the corporations pulled out, and we helped a lot of people pick up the pieces. I haven't seen 2 of them in years, and the rest I know to be dead. I'd like to gather their effects and bury them all in the same places, like the family we once were. I saw it happen. Hell, one of them was in my arms at the time. His name was Hayes, and he's our first stop. I buried him a ways from our encampment. I'll show you where he rests. He had a medallion in his effects. That's what I'll bring home to Barry. A long time ago, we built an encampment in one of Monarch's cave systems. Trouble is, a Mantiqueen showed up and kicked us all out. If we can find Rebecca and Anders, they'll know how to lure her out. Then, we kill the bitch, and bury everyone's medallions together. Thanks, Cap.
I've had quite enough of you! Where's the last one? That one's done for.
Here they come.
Now keep quiet.
I ought to mention, the Iconoclasts are loyal folk. Treat them right, they'll do the same. Turn on them, they'll open fire without a second thought. What's up? I took a job once to clear out a rap nest. Partnered up with a fellow out of Fallbrook who called himself Dirty Don. Bit on the shorter side. Had a penchant for cards. Thing is, he introduces himself and the man is immaculate. Clean. He had a flowery presence to him. A pleasantness that didn't invade your space. He was just there and you were glad for it. I wouldn't believe it myself had I not met the man. But when we got to the nest, I found out firsthand. Dirty Don killed those raptidons with his bare hands. His bare fucking hands, Captain. He was a whirlwind of grotesque primal fury. In the end, he stood drenched in blood over the entrails of a dozen raps. If he had a scratch on him, I wouldn't have been able to tell. It was glorious. Yeah. I never seen anything like it. Day came when he tried to take on a mana queen. Got himself eaten one limb at a time. Wonder if he tasted like soap. Oh well, live and learn. No matter how tough you are, if you're gonna fight something bigger than you, bring a firearm.
Welcome back. You find anything out there? Let's see. These are old. Looks like correspondences between the pirates. Some bits here, some there, some... Wait. This one's got the Amber Heights gate code on it. Just like the one I found earlier. And here's... a letter. Wait, this is from Graham. Oh, of all the... Captain. He gave them the gate codes. And their families? And all the hired help? I know he's got his head in the clouds, but I always believed there was a core of good there. What the hell happened to live and let live? Look, I need to think. Plan. Figure out if I should talk to him or shoot him. Or both. Just don't give him the module yet. Give me a little time. I'll meet you at his place.